students, welcome to my channel. Today's topic is web services versus API. Before starting, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do that and hit the bell icon as well. And if you like this video, also like it after watching it. So let's get started. Okay, so web services versus API. This is the main purpose of today's lecture. Plus, we'll be discussing some of the real life problems that are using APIs or web services or both. We'll be discussing things related to that. So let's move to the first slide. Web services facilitate the automated transfer of information from computer A to computer B using the XML language. This can be accomplished in a number of ways, but for today we are focused on standards based approaches, right? So what are the approaches that are used over the world? We'll be discussing some of those things. There is a division in the web community about the best method for accessing resources over the internet. The two leading methods are SOAP, a standard based approach, and REST. Now what exactly is SOAP? Although if you have watched my previous videos, I have covered most of these things related to SOAP, REST and things like that. But before moving to difference between web services and API, I'll be quickly covering all the small details related to web service so that it will be easier for you to understand how it works. Web services for SOAP. The definition is a simple object access protocol. The function is basically how it works. SOAP is an envelope that a request for resource is packaged in. It includes a header and body. The header can include information about the security, recipients, handling, routing, etc. The body includes a standard XML request. So it's something like this. The message usually transfers in the form of SOAP envelope. And under SOAP envelope, there are two different things that are called as header and the body part of the SOAP message. So the message is kept in the body part and the transactional information is kept in the header. These both are included in the envelope. That is the cover of header and body. In a reality, obviously it will not be transferred in the form of a rectangular box. So how in a reality it travels? The message travels in the form of XML. It is basically XML request only, right? So that particular format is basically having the tags. So there is a SOAP envelope tag, and under SOAP envelope tag there will be tags for header and for the body itself. Now what REST is all about? It stands for representational state transfer. So it basically works on state, and if we talk about SOAP, that works on object oriented approach. Okay, so the function is a REST is an architectural style for accessing distributed media or resources. So what are the differences between REST and SOAP? Let's discuss this. Messages are represented in plain XML format if we talk about REST, and on the other hand, if we talk about SOAP, messages are represented in a standardized XML SOAP envelope. Right. On the side of REST, we are having HTTP is used for the transfer protocol, but in case of SOAP, HTTP, SMTP and HTTPS is basically used. Now HTTP verbs are used for access manipulation commands in case of REST, but in case of SOAP, access to and manipulation of data are application specific. If we talk about REST, URIs are used to uniquely identify resources in message, but in SOAP, security is not described by SOAP and is to be provided by the developer itself. HTTP authentication provides security in case of REST, and in case of REST there is no formal method for expressing the interface contract. But if we talk about SOAP, XML schemas or DTD are used to define the contract between client and services. There are two types of binding in case of SOAP. One is document type binding and the second one is RPC type binding. If we talk about document type binding, the XML schema is kept in one another document and we can access that with the link. So in the WSDL document we are having a URL to access the schema, but in case of RPC everything related to schema is fed into the WSDL document itself. Now what WSDL is? WSDL or WSDL is Web Services Description Language. It is used for describing the capabilities of web services. In order for computer A to request information from computer B, it must know the appropriate method for asking the question. Essentially, a WSDL document describes how to invoke a service and provides information on the data being exchanged, the sequence of messages for an operation, protocol bindings, and the location of the service. WSDL is an integral part of UDDI, an XML based worldwide business registry. So everything which is being created by a IT firm is published over UDDI, and if somebody wants to use it, if somebody wants to check it out, then that particular web service can be accessed from the UDDI registry only. Now if some third party wants to access already created web service, then the information related to that web service can be fetched from the WSDL document. What are the inputs, what are the outputs, what are the different methods that are being used in that web service, what are the input types, what are the output types, along with the input and output names or nomenclature is there. So everything related to that web service is fed into WSDL document in the form of XML. It is an XML based document. Now the main thing over today's discussion comes, that is Web API. API stands for Application Programming Interface, which is a protocol used as an interface by software components to communicate with each other. An API serves as an interface between two different applications so that they can communicate with each other. Now, APIs and web services both are means of communication between service providers and service consumers. So, how they are different? Let's check it out. A web service, if we talk about web service, all web services are APIs, but vice versa is not true. That is, all APIs are not web services. This is the most important point. If you are discussing web services and web API, this is the first and foremost thing that should be clear to you. If it's not clear to you, there is no logic on going further with the examples, right? So please understand this thing. All web services are APIs, but all APIs are not web services. It can only be hosted on IIS. It can be hosted within an application or IIS in case of APIs. On web service side, it is not open source but can be used by any client that understands XML. On the other hand, if we talk about API, it is open source. It can be used by any client that understands JSON or XML. Web service requires SOAP protocol to receive and send data over the network. So it is not a lightweight architecture. But API is a lightweight architecture and good for devices which have limited bandwidth like mobile devices. A web service use only three styles of use, that is SOAP, REST, XML, RPC for communication. But API may use any style of communication. Web services support HTTP. On the other hand, if we talk about APIs, it supports the HTTP protocol, URL, request response headers, caching, versioning, content formats, and other things also. Now, you have read these statements beforehand also, but still I think it is not clear to you. Now I'll be giving you a quick understanding of how web services is different from API. So understand this thing. Let me just move to next slide, then I'll be explaining. So over this slide we'll be discussing real life examples, but before that let me just give you an insight about how web services and APIs are different from each other. Okay, now how API and web service works, I'll not explaining Flipkart currently, so I'm just explaining the concept first and then I'll be quickly explaining this concept to you. Okay, so if you have written a piece of code and this is your application, let's say this is your application. Now if you're using this piece of code in your own application again and again, then this will be called as a utility code or a API, right? Now this is a API but not web service, understand this thing. On the other hand, if I'm saying, let's say this is our application 1 or website 1, you can say this is our another application. Now just suppose I have written some whatever software engineer has written some code over this application, and the person using application 2 needs to use the code written by application 1. So it will request the code and that code will be sent to application 2. Now this whole concept, that is using somebody else code or using a third party code in your own application, then this particular thing or this process or this piece of code that is being used again and again in different websites, that is our web service and also API. Understand this thing, that will be a web service and a API also, because every web service is a API, remember that. Okay, so I have just deleted everything that was on our slide. Now I'll be moving to the next topic, that is related to real life examples. Now if we talk about Flipkart, Amazon or any other e-commerce website, now on these websites, if you can check out, let's say you are trying to log in. Over the home screen there will be an option to log into the website. So when you will be trying to log in, first option is you first register yourself, right? Now while registering, first option is that you fill all the fields, that is name, your mail ID, the phone number, and then some OTP that will be sent to your mobile device, and then your birth date, your address, and blah 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 things. So those are a traditional way of registering over some website. The second option is basically that is being used by different websites nowadays, that is login with FB or login with Google or Google Plus. So there are generally two buttons on different websites to log in with FB or Google Plus. So what are these? And in some websites there are also things like login with Instagram or login with LinkedIn. So depends on what type of website or what type of application you are using. Based on that there will be different types of buttons over there. Now what are these? These buttons are nothing but APIs. So if on your website, or let's say let's discuss the example of Flipkart only. On the website of Flipkart, if there is a button to log in with Google, that now what exactly is working over here? The button used for login with Google, that means Flipkart is using a code developed by google.com, and along with that code the functionality of restoring the details of that particular person or that mail ID is also fetched into Flipkart. Now the proof of that is, if you are pressing the button login with Google and your username over that Google account is, let's say your name is Anshul, right? So when you get logged into that e-commerce website, generally there is a message flashing like welcome Anshul. So how they are getting the details of the user? Because they have used the API created by Google. Now this API is also a web service over here, right? Because you are using it from a third party, plus you are using it over the web, right? This is a web service and as well as a, you can say, a API. Now let me just erase everything over this slide and I'll be quickly explaining you one another concept. So if we talk about Flipkart or any other e-commerce website, there are generally some offers like lightning deals, or maybe it is also called as deal of the day. So when you are trying to buy that product, one of the products from deal of the day, when you put that in your cart and then you just move to the payment gateway part. So over the payment gateway, it is basically first checked that what will be the amount that will be charged from you. So either that will be the actual price or the deal price. This generally is judged based upon the time. So deal of the day is generally for 24 hours. So if those 24 hours are not expired yet, then you will be charged according to the deal price, or otherwise you will be charged the actual price of that commodity. So what exactly is basically checked over here? The functionality of the time, the functionality of checking the time, and based on that checking what price will be charged to you. This whole concept is used, this whole code is used by Flipkart again and again in one day for different products, for different users. If you are ordering 10 products, for each product that you are ordering, it will be checked against the time when you are about to buy it, whether that product is still on a deal price or it's now on actual price based on the current time. So that functionality is nothing but a API. So Flipkart has coded one functionality as a utility code, and that code is being used again and again for different products and for different users over that website, right? So that is nothing but a API, but not a web service, because you are using that code in your own application. So basically Flipkart has just coded that. Flipkart is using that piece of code by itself, right? Next comes the login example. I have already discussed this topic with you. That is, if let's say you are having a website, this is your website, right? So for login you are using two options, that is login by Google and login by FB, that is Facebook. So if you are if some user is pressing the button login by Google, at that time your website will be fetching that code from the Google. That user's info will be fetched from the Google's API. So if you are using those buttons, that is login with Google or login with FB, then you are using APIs created by those websites over your own website. Now how Make My Trip and Air India works in this scenario, what are the APIs and what are the web services and how things works. Suppose you are about to book a flight ticket from Delhi to Mumbai, let's say. So all the tickets, all the flight tickets from Delhi to Mumbai, the list of all the flights will be there. There will be Air India, there will be Vista, there will be SpiceJet, and different flights are different basically airline services are being listed in front of you along with the charges and the time, right? So now how information are being fetched. For an example, I am using Make My Trip and Air India over here. Now if we talk about Air India, so there is the website of Air India also. You can book ticket from there also. So first option was to give access to Make My Trip. So what first thing is that Air India is giving access to Make My Trip, that Make My Trip can use their data, but that is also a potential security breach. So it might be the case intruders are using the confidential data of Air India. So in order to protect the data, what concept was created, that is API. Now it's not ki Air India has created API. I'm just giving you an example. So APIs are created so that you can give that API to the website, to the third party website, and they can market your product over their website, and the price and the information related to that product goes in sync with both the websites. That is the owner of the product and the company who is marketing it. So both are having access to the data is basically synced between these both parties. So if some particular flight is being cancelled, then that will not be listed in Make My Trip at that time, right? So these things are being taken care, that it has to be in sync with each other, because if some flight got cancelled but Make My Trip is taking bookings for that flight, so it will be nothing but a chaos. So in order to protect this, we need to keep it in the sync, and for that APIs are used. And over here this example is for API and as well as for web service. This example goes for both, right? These are a few examples of API and web services. I hope this thing is clear to you now. My channel, like this video, share it with your friends, and if you are having any doubts, please feel free to write the comments. You can also mail me your doubts, right? Plus you can follow me over my blog, over my Facebook page, over other platforms, over LinkedIn. I have listed all the links in the description below. Thank you, students.